So the next speaker is a really, really amazing lady. She is a sexual healer. She helps people overcome blockages, traumas. She's really, really powerful at what she does. Because a lot of people, when it comes to sex, they have these blocks in their energy. And it can come from bad experiences. It can come from things that you see, from things that you observe. And when you get rid of those blockages, amazing, incredible things happen. But Eugina, who's over here, she's also super kinky. Anyone kinky in the room? Any kinky people? Who's really kinky but too shy to admit it? Interesting, right? Interesting. Eugina is really amazing at knowing what she wants. More than that, when she knows what she wants, she knows how to get it. And she's not afraid to ask, just like Sia was saying. And this is so important, and I'm super excited for what she's going to share with you. All about how to find your deepest desires. Sounds sexy, right? Yeah. Now, Eugina has no ego, so she doesn't need a big round of applause. But I think we should just give her one anyway. What do you think? Put your hands together, Eugina!
Hi! I don't gonna use the mic, so I hope that you can hear me, all right? So if you can't hear me, please raise your hand and just make sure that you let me know that you can't hear me, okay? But I will do my best to make sure that my message reaches you, okay? So I would like to ask you a question. Who would like to have more of juicy and passionate sex? Raise your hands. Woo! Nice! And who would like to have more orgasmic life? Oh my goodness, you're in the right place now, right? All right, I will start with telling you a little bit about myself, and you're probably gonna get why I'm doing what I'm doing. So my relationship with sex started at 11 years old when I found my father's porn magazines. And of course, he didn't know about it. But me being me and being curious what is going on there, that was like real fun thing to do. I could feel all of this excitement in my body. So it's like, but it's kind of boring after a while to look at this whole exciting stuff by myself, right? So I just called my best friend and I said, hey, I got some fun things to show you. Do you want to see? So my friend came round, we're looking through these porn mags, everything is like really cool, we're getting like really excited, and then it's like, hey, listen, shall we try to do what they're doing there in the pictures? It's like, yeah, that's a great idea. So we get into my parents' bed and we start making out, and what happens next? My father walks in. I'm like, my friend just like literally, I never seen like her to like run so quickly and getting dressed. So it was kind of really humiliating experience, but it kind of happens. So I never had a formal education what is sex or how children are born. So I've been actually told that I was found in the cabbage. So, you know, it kind of gives you like a little bit understanding of there is not much relationship with sexuality when people are growing up, and especially kids are very curious creatures and want to know everything, and it's like, where do I come from? Like, where do I come from? It's like, I'm here now, but where did you get me from? So I never been explained that properly, and this is one of the things that I'm noticing it's missing in our general education. You know that kids are growing up finding bits and pieces where to get the information from. Is it like porn sites? Is that like some of their friends told them something which is like totally untrue most of the time, you know? And like making all this puzzle picture together from not a reliable source. So, and this leads to much of disconnect within themselves, especially if there is like lots of judgment is involved and things like that. So I was always very expressive with my sexuality since a young age, and I also been punished for it also, like in a form of, like, when I was in school, I was slandered quite a lot and like always been a rebellion and things like that, which kind of made me stand up for what I believe in, but in the same way, it also makes me be a little bit from other people, you know, disconnected. So feeling like I'm on my own, feeling that other people don't get me. And now I'm fine with that, but growing up, I wasn't fine with that. So also having like all kinds of traumas as a growing up child, like sexual abuse and this kind of things. So it all contributed for me to bring my walls up and not let anyone in when I have got so much love to give, but I'm just not able to give it because of all of these barriers that are around me. So it took quite a long time to overcome all that, and I'm fine now, as you see, and I actually can share my knowledge with you guys. So it all happened for a reason, and I'm very, very happy to be here. I actually would like to thank you for being here, as you could be anywhere in the world, but you have chosen to come here and stay with us and learn and educate yourself and just connect with other people on a deeper, more profound level, talking about something that is truly important to all of us. But you are the ones who actually admitted it to yourselves. So congratulations. Brilliant. So today, in my talk, I would like to talk about desires, our true desires. So you will find out, what are your true desires? What is your relationship with your true desires? So there was other cool stuff too, but I don't gonna reveal it just now. So shall we start with desires? So who actually knows what do they truly, really want? Because many people are very often know what they don't want. When you go on a date and something goes wrong, and then you come back and you talk to your friends, it's like, oh, but he or she is that, and I don't like it, and they just like really get the things that they don't want. And what happens? When your friend asks you, so what do you actually want? What are you looking for? And very often people just don't know. It's like, I don't know, but it's not that. So what is it? What is it? And today I would like to start with you with a very fun exercise on how to find out what are your true desires. Is anybody up for it? Who wants to find out their true desires? Awesome. So I would like you to take 3 minutes to write down how you would like to be kissed. Something really simple, but many people don't pay attention to that. All right, guys, let's start wrapping up quickly. Hey, are you done? How was that? Who have got nothing at all? Is there anybody? Nothing? So, all right. Can we get a pen and paper, please?
Do you want some paper? There you go. Who's got a pen?
Sorted.
Leave no man behind.
No, not at all.
Sorry, guys. I'm like.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. Yeah, just go ahead. Go ahead. So, who found that it was quite easy to write how they want to be kissed? Yeah? All right. Who actually is anybody haven't? No? All right. So cool. So this is the thing, that when we know what we want, we usually keep it to ourselves. I know that I want things this way, but actually the other person has no idea. So when that happens, when you get together and then you just like expect the other person to know how to kiss you without even like saying anything. There is no mind reading or anything like that happening. So it sometimes can be quite tricky. I remember my first kiss was horrendous. It's like this guy, he just like got this tongue out and what's happening? So yeah. Actually, what I was meant to start with, that our true desires, sometimes we find very difficult to actually realize what is that we truly really want. Because pressure of society is quite big. Pressure of family, and it's like being judged by other people, being accepted or disaccepted or disowned and these kind of things. Like, I'll give you an example that I got married when I was 20 years old. And I don't think that it was my true desire at the time, but everyone was doing that. Like, all my school friends was married. My parents expect me to get married. Society says that I'm not a fulfilled woman unless I'm married. So this is what I do. But how do I realize that it's my true desire? Because this desire is actually attached to me. I adopted somebody else's like norms by society to bring it into my life, when I know truly that it doesn't feel right. So everything went on, we had a wedding, everything, and then we got divorced after 3 months. So, and I would have not known that unless I actually went through that. Because when you're in the moment, you just think, but this is what I do, and sometimes it's quite hard to separate what is that you truly want with what is that pressure of society and what is your adopted desires. So how to deal with that, like, very often is as simple as to take pen and paper and write things down. Because once you started writing, you actually accessing, you giving a universe then access to channel through you and like really lay things out for you on the piece of paper. You don't even have to know what to write about. What you do is you just write, what do I desire? And everything that is somewhere deep there in your heart, in your core, is gonna come to you. Because it's not planned, it's not on purpose. You just write and you just letting your soul speak to you and show you what is that. So I hope that this alone can be quite beneficial to you, because I wish that I had this tool before I got married, but I didn't. So many times now that when we actually think that, hey, I want this, I want that, but how do you really want it? Why do you really want it? Is that you who really wants it? Or is that it's like I'm meeting a guy, let's say, to go on a date. Do I do it because I want to, or because my parents say that I have to be with somebody? Because where I come from, I'm Russian from Latvia, so girls get married at very young age. Like we're talking, if you're not married by 25, you already, something's wrong with you. So no pressure there, I'm 31. So every time when I go back home, and my family always asks, so, are you married yet? What's happening? When are we gonna have like kids and everything? So because it's normal by their norms. Norm of society says that this is what you should do. So how do you go about not doing that, you know? And I can tell you that the magic is in communication. Because I had my mom very often like crying on the phone to me and talking, is like, Eugina, when are you gonna have grandkids? I was like, Mom, I don't have a boyfriend, what you talking about, you know? It's like, it doesn't really match up, you know, and I'm like busy taking on the world and all these kind of things, you know, I don't have time for kids right now. So after all this, going through that, to sit down and just have this conversation with my mother, just sharing with her what are my true desires are. Because when I told my mom, it's like, I asked her, so do you know what I do? She's like, no. I was like, would you like to know? She's like, yes. So I'm sex and intimacy coach. She was like, oh, oh, what you mean? Right? And it's like, well, Mom, do you remember when I was growing up, you told me I was found in a cabbage? This is the reason why I'm doing this. So, because it is like impossible to, yeah, she got it now, she got it. So, happy days. So, this is the reason when I sat down and I spoke to her my truth, and that I explained to her that, Mom, there is really no education about it. And you know this because you experienced it yourself. So this is the thing. When you actually share with somebody your true desires that come from your heart, you connect with that person on the level that is not only a surface level. It's like, oh yeah, I'm doing this, you know, I'm gonna make lots of money, you know. No, there is other reasons, like deeply soulful feeling. And when you speak to somebody from your heart, you actually create some magic. You know, you open in the door for that person also open up to you, because when you're sharing yourself, you're giving that person a permission to share their own as well. And this is where it's so special. This is where you create the magic of the moment, of connection, of communication. Because without that, it's like when you live in somebody just to guess what is that you truly want, this is where sometimes you don't, that person doesn't live up to your expectations. But it's not because they can't, but it's because they don't know how. And sometimes we just need to give another an opportunity to express themselves. And by doing that, we only can do by own example. So if I am sharing myself and what do I really want, this gives you permission automatically to share yourself and express what is that do you really want. So, which brings us very slowly to the next topic, which is your relationship with your desire. I have noticed myself that my relationship with my desire for many years have been maybe later. So I want something, but I put everybody else before my own desires. And let's be honest, we all have got a busy lives, we all have got jobs, we have got kids, we have got friends, we have got many other people, you know, who are of course more important than me. You know, it's like, oh, I want some chocolates, but I don't have them. Oh, but it's fine. It's like, I'm just gonna go and grab you a cup of coffee, but it's like, doesn't matter. I don't really need some chocolates, right? So what is your relationship with your desire? Is it procrastination or is it avoidance? Is it something else? Is it putting yourself on hold? So when you don't give yourself an importance of your own desires, nobody else will. All right? And I'm going to tell you this one more time. Just let this to sit with you. That if you don't have time for yourself, nobody will. Because people from outside, they are only there to show you how are you relating to yourself. So I've met this guy, and I met him after doing one workshop. I was going to take a bus, and this guy comes up to me, he's like, hey, do you want to talk? I'm like, sure, let's do it. He's like, you look very shy. I'm like, well, I don't know about that. He's like, no, really. I was like, okay, let's see. So somehow our conversation like gets really deep very quickly. And he shares with me that he's like very like pissed off with people and he doesn't like people, and that it's like, I was like, so why is that? Why is that? People are good. And he was like, well, but you know, I met this guy and we became friends, but then every time I make an arrangement to go to the restaurant, you know, he just like bails out, like immediately or last minute. I was like, okay, cool. Why do you think that is? He's like, I don't know. I give him all my heart. I give him everything, but I just don't know what's happening. Okay, that happens. How does that feel? Well, that feels shitty. I was like, well, I'm not surprised. It kind of is, you know. So then I asked him, how often do you take time for yourself? And he's like, I don't. Why don't you? Well, I don't have time for that. I was like, what do you mean you don't have time for that? It's like, well, I don't have time to spend on me. I was like, so why is that? It's like, well, because other people are more important. It's more important for me to please other people or like be there for other people. So it was like really obvious to me. How can you expect somebody else to be there for you if there is no you there for you? Do you know what I mean? If there is no you have your own back, how are you going to expect somebody else to have your back? And this is where all the magic is. It's all you. It's all here. You all got it. Right? But the more you give time and make somebody else more important than you, the more you chip away from yourself. And the more the people around you are going to show you that. But show you in a way that they're going to bail out last minute. They don't going to have time for yourself, for you. And this is where you're going to be like more and more left is like, fuck, what's happening? Why is this? So always, always I suggest, I actually insist that when you see that there is some situation that you are uncomfortable with, just ask yourself a question. How have you been in that situation? How have you been with yourself there? Because most of the time, the answer comes back to you. How you've been treating yourself. What was your intention in that situation? And the answer will be there. Always. Always. So guys, are you having a good time? Yes. Awesome. So I feel that everybody's like a bit still now. Shall we shake it up a little bit? No? I would like everybody to stand up. Haha. And shake your kundalini for a bit. Yeah? Take a deep breath. Woo! And down. Beautiful. One more time. Up. Woo! And one more time. Up. Woo! Down. So give high five to the person next to you. Say, you're awesome. All right, brilliant. Please take a seat. So, the next topic is how to ask for what you want. How often do we actually, already after we discover it, what do we really want? How often do we actually have enough courage to request it? Very often it's like when, like, let's say, in everyday life, in sex, but I like to think that how you are in sex, the same way you are in everyday life. Okay, because it's like very pure connection there. It's like how do you do one thing is how you do everything. So simple as that. So I have actually been very challenged in my life to ask for what I truly want. Sia was talking earlier about what is the power of your yes if you can't say no, right? And this is really, really something deeply personal to me, that if I can't say no to what I don't want, it's like, what is the point, you know? And sometimes feeling is like, oh, but what is that person gonna think of me? But what they gonna make of me? You know, or like all this fear of judgment, all of these fears, you know, like start coming up, and you already dreading saying yes because it's gonna feel shit. And then you dreading to say no because you're gonna be disowned or disliked, or like whatever reasons could be there. So, asking for what you want. Most of the time we are very reluctant, but are there many people in the room who actually ask for what they want often? Great, so some of you, but not all of you. Can anybody share with me why do you find it hard to ask for what you want? Anybody? Yeah, please. You don't really know what you you don't really know what you want.
Sometimes.
Okay. Do you know what you don't want?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great question.
Well, so you can, that's a big start, right? So now you can actually write to yourself, what do I desire? Based on what you don't want. So it's like elimination process. I don't want this, so maybe I want this. You know? Yeah, you're welcome. And okay, how to ask for what you want. So guys, now I have got a really interesting exercise for you. I love it very much personally, right? So let's practice our abilities to ask for what you want, but without actually even asking it. What about that? Does that sound intriguing? Would somebody want to learn how to do that? Yeah? Awesome. So right now, I would love you to find a partner and describe to each other your favorite dessert and how you like to take it. Yes. I would like you to do that. So let's take 2.5 minutes each. Okay, so we have 5 minutes, 2.5 minutes each, okay? All right, how was that?
Brilliant.
Yeah, does anybody want to share? Does anybody, please?
Mine dessert was strawberries.
Yeah?
I just love to like bite the tip and then like wrap my lips around it and taste all the juices. There's no other way for me to say it.
Well,
I was just saying, that I'm really big on, and I realise how that impacts not the strawberries, but I'm really big on just enjoying the one thing minimalistically, and then giving it all its attention and glory, even with people. So I'm much better one-on-one. Like I love one-on-one deep conversation. Whenever it's on a basic, hey, how are you? We've got nothing else to say. All my senses disappear. I just I resist it so much. So even with food or clothes, anything, I tend to have one maybe fancy thing, and everything else is minimalistic.
yeah.
Just to appreciate. So it's like for both of us really, but more.
Amazing, amazing. So how many people want to taste those strawberries when she just described them? Right? Right? So does anybody else would like to share? Please?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I was finding it really difficult to choose one. As soon as I went for one dessert, I thought, all the other desserts are what? It's like, oh, I mean, that's my favourite.
You have to have cake and eat it.
So yeah, I wanted it all. That was the trouble.
Okay, okay. Well, do you have any favorite thing at the time?
Sorry?
At any one given time?
No, I went for one. But it was literally as soon as I focused on one,
Yeah.
the loss of all the others came up.
All right. All right. Are you in life also like that?
Well, yeah, that's
So is that?
Yeah. No, it's definitely worth noticing.
Amazing, great stuff. Miss?
I enjoyed hearing the other person tell me about their one more,
Yeah.
but it also triggered me into thinking of others, and then I was trying to come back and properly listen.
Yeah.
And I kept getting flashes of, the triggers of other desserts as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So has it actually triggered something for you that you maybe haven't paid attention in the past, but now that somebody else described you, it's like, oh yeah.
I don't know really, but the focusing on the person telling me was the best bit.
Amazing. All right. Anybody else would like to share?
I think, how do you say that? She described her dessert so well, and it was like, she started off very, very unassumingly, and then she really went into it. And then there was one more thing, and there was one more thing.
Yeah.
Before it was only for her, and I said, no, I'm going to have this, and I'm also going to share it with my friends. And I think
Yeah.
I'll never look at a vegan cake again in the same way.
Amazing. Please?
I found it very interesting that how do you eat it? My partner's mum over here, she said she likes to peel off the layers of an apple strudel.
Yeah.
Straight from the oven, hot but not too much.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of detail in the eating, a little bit like the egg commercials. How do you eat your Cadbury's cream egg?
Amazing. So how many people here can say that by sharing their desires and the things that they enjoy, you actually enroll other people on your ride, right? It's like involuntarily you want to, it's like Yeah, I want to eat that cake with you. I want to feed it to you. Where is that cake? Right? So it's like sometimes we don't even have to ask for what we want. We just have to share with one another what is that makes us feel good, right? And it's all about feeling good. We've got only one life. Why to waste it on like guessing if this person is like going to give it to you somehow by mind reading? If you don't communicate what you want, nobody can give it to you. Because very often, people, no matter how deeply tuned in they are with each other, all of us, we are so simple but so complex creatures that something can pop up in your mind and you can hold on to it like never before, like it's the most precious thing, and just expecting others to give it to you. When it's like, how can you expect to give it to, like, how can you expect that person to give it to you if you can't even like communicate what you want? I don't know, and this is where, especially I think ladies are very good at that, it's like wanting the guys to do something. I've done that myself many, many times. I would actually imagine myself the whole story and then I would sit and wait when this happens, and then I'm just gonna get upset. It's like, damn it! Who the fuck you think he is? But then I haven't said anything to actually invite anything into my life because I just simply haven't communicated that. So here's something for you. Maybe you can have a dessert party now. Who knows? All right. So this swiftly brings us to our next topic, which is how to receive what you want. Okay, because once you know what you want, you already have really established all that, you put your request out there. But now, very, very important moment, how to receive it. Okay, because receiving is an art itself. Many people, myself included, have a relationship with receiving as, oh no, somebody gives me money, I'm like, oh no, not anymore, not anymore. But like even before, like being in sales and things like that, is like selling something and them not being able to ask for a payment, let's say. But I'm giving the service, when I've been doing a photography, right? And my first ever client, we went for a meeting to describe all of this session and talk about everything. So we sat down, we went through the details, but what happened next, that the conversation kind of led to the payment part. But I did not feel comfortable asking for money. So I was like, oh, would you like to make me a website instead? I'm like, fuck, I don't need this website. What am I saying, But it's like this thing where you can't ask and you can't receive, because it's like you feel bad by asking people to give you something in return for your services, where you actually put your heart and your soul into it. And this is a hard thing to do because it's the same like with pleasure. How many times have you just managed to just be there, lay there and do nothing? And just allow that partner of yours, the lover of yours, just take care of you. Because it is, for many people, very unnatural. You just feel that you have to keep on doing something. You have to make this noise to make sure that they feel good. You have to touch them somehow. When actually all there is, just enjoy what you've been given. Right? It's all there is no mastering, there is no trickery to it. It's just allow it to happen. But in those moments, our mind take over so much that it's oh my goodness, but am I laying here for too long? But if I don't gonna make a noise, maybe he gonna think that I'm not enjoying myself. But maybe I shall give something in return. But maybe I shall touch him or something. And there is this internal dialogue that happens in your head every single time when you are there in the best position ever, just to receive pleasure. But something takes you out in your head and prevents you from receiving it, because all of this conditioning, previous experiences, previous, like wherever that is, gets into your head and stops you from having a good time. So, would you like to know how to deal with that?
Yes.
Yes? Fantastic. So the answer is, you breathe. Simple. It works every single time. I tried it myself. So you got my stamp on it. So every single time when you feel that you in the space of where your internal dialogue takes away from you your pleasure, I suggest you just like kick it out with a breath. But not only breath like, but a real deep breath. And sometimes it might take you a couple of breaths to do that, right? And which is fine. And I had the questions been asked, is like, but is it going to kill the moment? It's not going to kill the moment. You breathing is never going to kill the moment, I tell you that for sure, right? So sometimes we do need this like extra time to reconnect with somebody, you know? That extra time where you actually have to look into somebody's eyes and connect. It's like, just slow down. There is nothing's wrong. If you've been disconnected, but it's what you do about it. Are you gonna let yourself be robbed of the pleasure that you're already in for? Or are you going to do something when you just get to know that you're being disconnected? What is it gonna be? You know, so nothing's wrong when you ask, is like, hey baby, slow down. Just look into my eyes. Let's take a breath together. You know, this actually gonna create even more intimacy between you than it's like when you would just pretend that everything is fine when you're actually just thinking about your dinner. It's like, all right, right? And this is the thing, that it's very important that you have got this level of confidence within yourself to understand, this is my pleasure. For sure gonna make your pleasure is your responsibility, nobody else's. If you don't gonna take a stand for what do you want and what do you enjoy, nobody can give it to you. If you haven't like this intimate time and this sexual experience with your partner and somehow you felt that you're disconnected, if you don't gonna make a stand that this is what's happening and gonna flow with it, you are responsible for not receiving the pleasure. You, not him or her, because they don't know, unless you make it available for them to reconnect again. And that's the thing. But we all think that it's like, oh my goodness, but what is he gonna think? But what is she gonna think? It's like, but I don't want to offend their feelings. So it's like, whatever that could be. But I'm telling you, if you are not taking the stand for your pleasure, nobody can give it to you. As simple as that. So I encourage you all, be confident enough to actually mention, baby, let's reconnect. Let's have this breath and then carry on this wild time. But with a better connection, right? Because you already stepping into the space of having sex with somebody to have a good time, to have your body nourished, to nourish other body, right? You're there to enjoy, not to think is like what will happen after, and it's like what is the time, and it's like all like whatever you can think about. You're there to have a good time. So make sure you take a stand for it. So, and actually, you know, receiving what you really want. How many of you actually can imagine receiving what you really want? It's like, for example, for the guys, when you have got all for the girls also, it's like you have got all your like list of the perfect person, you know, and it's like this girl of your dreams comes to you and gives you her hand and says, hey, come with me. What is your reaction? Will you take the hand and go? Or will you be thinking is like, oh my goodness, do I deserve this? What happens? So what are you actually going to do when you're going to receive what you want? What is going to happen? It's like, what's going to be going through your head? Are you going to get scared and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not sure about this now? Or are you like going to think, what's going to happen? It's like, am I going to enjoy it too much? Am I going to not enjoy it at all? What is going to happen? Because to want in something, it's great, of course. To like ask for it is fantastic. But when it's there, given to you on the plate, many people, you know, are just too scared to take it. Just because all of this conditioning is like, maybe I'm not worthy. Maybe I'm not deserving it. Maybe I'm gonna enjoy it too much. What's gonna happen then? Blah, 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 blah. And here we are. We run away again. So taking ourselves away from the things that we enjoy and let our fears to actually come and take over instead of like really going for it, because your pleasure, your responsibility. And if you actually decided along the way that, hey, it's not for me, that is fine too, right? But it's like, are you willing to take the chance actually to ask and receive what do you really and truly want? Or are you gonna settle for something that is okay, but not really? Okay, but I would rather that, you know? So think about that, right? That is something that myself very guilty of, but I kind of overcome that now. So, and this is what I show my clients also, how to do that. So, which brings us to the final part of my talk today, which is how to avoid the potholes. So we have got all those things that our desires, what do we really want, how to communicate it, how to receive it, you know, but fear is always going to be there. What is going to happen when I ask for it? What if I'm going to get rejected? What is going to happen when that person doesn't like what I like? Because all those things going to come and jump at you and really take over. And sometimes it can be so overwhelming that it takes you away from the entire, like, oh, I don't even want it anymore, you know? It's like, I wanted to try this new thing, but now I'm let's say BDSM, all right? It's like, for some people it can be quite extreme, for some people it can be quite normal, right? So what happens when, let's say the scenario of people, couple would want to try out, one of the partners would like to try out BDSM. How to approach the other person? Because there's quite a lot at stake, right? You have got your ongoing relationship and you have got all these established things that you do, and here you are, it's coming out of nowhere, thinking is hey, so I was thinking about this BDSM, what you think? Is no, it's not for me. Right? So, and this is again, it's straight away, we as a human beings, our initial response is a no. But then it's you heard it already and it's hold on, what did you say? Right? So it's we don't allow things to sink in. And again, I'm very guilty of this myself. But nevertheless, it's when you ask a request and you all thinking, what might happen? So I'm gonna ask that. What will happen? You know, so what is the worst case scenario? Am I gonna get rejected? So you really like go through your fears and doubts and whatever. Because guys, I'm gonna tell you one thing, that fear is your ally, is here to serve you. Because without fear, we just would go and dive into like doing stupidest things and then regretting them. But fear is actually there for us to think twice before making a move to whatever it is. It's there to show you what could possibly go wrong and how to avoid it. So if you make a fear your enemy, you're going to be fighting till the rest of your life and actually refusing yourself in pleasure and doing things that you really want to do but actually never had the balls to do it. Just because it's like you treating the fear as your enemy. But when you actually make fear your ally, is your friend, is like, hey, I want to try BDSM, so what could possibly can happen? So I might not enjoy it. Okay, so what can I do about that? Well, maybe I shall use a safe words. So that would help. So I can let my partner know when I like something, when I like on the edge, and when I really don't like something, right? So that's gonna like give you some guidance. So when you start communicating with yourself first, because again, it all comes back to you, okay? Nobody else knows what you want and what fears do you have. But actually when you admit to yourself what is that you really want and what can possibly go wrong around it, what fears you might have, what insecurities, what other people might think about you. This is where when you all lay it all out for yourself, and if it's important enough, take a half a day to write these things down, because this is where things become visual for you, that you know that, hey, actually in my head it looked different. Now I made the notes of it, it looks like totally like a different kind of thing. Because very often when we keep it in our head, we don't even know how to present it to other people. And very often our desires look different, and then when they manifest itself, they feel completely different because we're pushing them away from us, especially when we're scared to communicate them. We just feel that, hey, listen, I really wanted to try this BDSM, so I was refusing myself, and then I couldn't wait anymore, so I just went for it, and it was terrible. So I knew I should have never done it. So, but it's not the actual desire of yours that is terrible. It's your relationship with this desire that is terrible, that when you preventing it so much from something that you really and truly want, and you just, all that you can think of is like this beautiful thing, this like beautiful amount of pleasure. But when you're refusing yourself in that, you become so hungry for it that sometimes you just like jump into it without even thinking what can happen. How shall I avoid all the potholes? What can go wrong, and how shall I make sure that everything is perfect? So this is the thing. When you start thinking about it and communicating with what is that you truly want, what can go wrong, making notes if you desire to, this is where your things, your desires, your dreams gonna become more visual for you. They're going to become more real for you and much easier to manifest. And come on, how many of us love to manifest things that really gives us pleasure? Yeah, right? So guys, I would like to leave you with the final things that today we have discussed about how to understand what are your true desires really are. We have discussed, what did we discuss? What is our relationship with our desire? We have discussed how to ask for what we want. We have discussed how to receive what is that we really want. and we have discussed how to avoid the potholes. Okay, so I would like to leave you with the final thing for today, which is very simple. Your pleasure is your responsibility. Your pleasure is your responsibility. And only you can be in control and in charge of your pleasure and how to receive it. So this is it. And thank you so much for listening to me. It has been absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Eugina. So much to think about and
For
so
sure.
much to do. I just want to check something out.
Are you gonna get to send out text to someone? All right, yes, of course. All right, I've been reminded of something.
Just because I know it's really fun. To miss out.
All right, yes, I'm actually been going with the flow, so I forgot some stuff that I wanted to share, but I'm very but I'm
Little things to do on the break.
all right. So do you know that you have made those notes about how do you like to be kissed? Yeah? So I would like to encourage you to send this message to the person you would like to receive that kiss from. So, who is up for that? Woo! Come on, guys, I can see your hands. Just do it. You know, who don't ask, don't get. And your pleasure is your responsibility. All right, and on this note, I would like us to go on break. And we have got 15 minutes. But I think Luke would like to say something before.
Firstly, can we give Eugina a massive round of applause, please?
Thank you.
Whoa, so you have to receive, okay? It's really, really important to receive. So arms out nice and wide. Look everybody in the eyes. Give her another round of applause.
Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.